That's a perfect sound wave right there. You like that?
Yeah, that was really nice. You know, there's a lot of nice, not nice things going on, but that was nice right there.
That was nice.
Well, let's just revel in that.
Yeah.
For a moment, just a moment of silence for
the nice thing.
For the nice thing.
All right.
Yeah. The film. It's been about a 2-week hiatus, and I am very ashamed to say I have engaged with the film 2 times.
Really? I think I've engaged with the film 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah.
Whoa! So you're still doing like class stuff, or are you like watching the film for pleasure?
Pleasure.
Oh shit! What the fuck? He's been watching movies for pleasure.
I mean, I'm still in the class, but I like skipped last week's like watchings, kind of.
Bad student. Hey. I'm gonna send this to your teacher. Who teaches you?
Professor. Well, I better not dox him.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
you dox yourself every other day, so I mean.
I do.
What's it matter if you drag an innocent professor into this, huh?
I guess nothing. Let's go ahead and do it.
Hey.
No, I'm catching up on all the Oscar buzz.
There you go.
So, honestly, I don't have much to say about anything.
I'm seeing some pretty spicy stuff just looking at your list there.
I'll go ahead and say Spencer. Here's Casey's 5-movie 5-second quick review. Okay.
Oh fuck.
Spencer is 3 stars. There are 3 things that I like about it: the cinematography, Kristen Stewart, and the score. And that's about it. The movie is carried by Kristen Stewart.
Those all stuck out to me. Yeah, Kristen Stewart really killing it. And I don't mean that cinematography being real pretty.
Yeah.
And that score being scary jazz.
Yeah. Everything else is kind of just middling though, and I understand why I didn't get any nominations.
I felt like I don't know if it was like completely middling, but I definitely felt the same way where I was like kind of bored with it whenever. You know, it wasn't a spotlight on Kristen Stewart and stuff. I mean, there was a lot of good scenes in there, but I don't think I cared for, like, this particular story they told about Princess Diana. I wish it had been more grand in scope, honestly.
I agree. The end sequence is my favorite when she runs out from the forest.
That was a bit fantastic. Yeah. That was nice.
I like that. The Lost Daughter, fucking amazing. Maggie Gyllenhaal still needs work as a director, but for this being her debut, this is fucking amazing, and I loved it.
This is Olivia Colman? Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Honestly, and I want to say, hey, Olivia Colman already won her Oscar. But goddamn, man, I mean, she's so good. Like, especially in this, it's really good.
Give it to her again.
Give it to her.
Okay.
Nightmare Alley is really good.
I saw it's on HBO Max. Let's go.
Do it, dude. Let's go. No, it's really, really good. Not Del Toro's best, I think, but I think Shape of Water is my favorite from Del Toro so far. But Nightmare Alley is probably a close second.
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Not for a very long time. I think I watched it a long time ago, but I
do love Shape of Water, but I mean,
yeah.
I feel like even though it's probably the basic fan Del Toro thing, I really love fucking.
Right. I mean, everybody seems to. I need to give it a rewatch. If I even watched it in the first place, there was that and another movie that were very similar in my childhood. Then I can't remember which one I engaged with, but. Don't Look Up is shit. Don't even fucking bother. I have nothing more to say. I don't know why it's nominated for anything. It's so bad.
Money. Netflix money.
I guess so. It's bad. Don't Look Up fucking sucks. And then The Tragedy of Macbeth is also just like so fucking mid. It's unbelievable. Like Denzel Washington is like fine, and so is Frances McDormand. But like really, there's honestly nothing there that is just like sticking out to me. Like it's like the same Macbeth story you've heard time and time again. The last duel between Macbeth and the other dude, I forget his fucking name, is honestly quite impressive, but other than that, it's pretty fucking boring, and I wanted to end my life during it. So
I do feel like at this point, in this day and age, it's weird to see such a straightforward adaptation of Shakespeare because like we've already had like so many adaptations of Shakespeare. I mean, the 90s, we kind of forget about it, but that was like everyone was like, let's just do the OGs like Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, and all that shit, and let's just put it into the screen in different time eras. And I mean, they still do that, but it's kind of died down. But I feel like to do Shakespeare these days, you do just have to reimagine the story and kind of put it under a different name. So I still haven't seen it, but I probably will, even though it looks pretty just like Macbeth.
Right? Yeah. I just don't understand why he chose to like film it all on a sound stage, because then it's like it kind of defeats the purpose of like adapting Shakespeare to the screen. For me, at least, is like we're gonna adapt it to the screen, but we're gonna do nothing that makes film different as a medium. We're just gonna film it on a stage and make it look like you're in a theater, but with camera angles. And it's just like the most boring take ever. And I just don't like it. The cinematography is all right. Like there are some shots in there that are, don't get me wrong, are absolutely fucking glorious. But other than that, like, I don't know. The take on the Three Witches was really cool. I did like. I forget the actress's name. That plays the Three Witches in the film.
I haven't heard about the casting, so maybe I should letterbox that for you.
She's absolutely insane in it. Her take on the Three Witches is really fucking cool. And Catherine Hunter.
Oh,
sorry, witches / old man in the film. She's the one in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix where she's like, don't put your wand away, Harry. They might come back, and she like testifies for him.
That chick.
Yeah. Well, she's really fucking good in the movie. I did like all her stuff, but yeah, that's what I engaged with. What have you engaged with?
Well, there's one thing I'll talk about now, and then one thing I'll save for maybe our larger topic, or maybe it'll be a transition. But
yeah.
So what I rewatched Murder on the Orient Express, the Branagh version.
Fuck yeah.
And I still haven't seen any other telling of this film, which is crazy because Sidney Lumet did the original version. So I mean, I feel like that I need to see that because I'm sure it's probably better. So what confuses me about this movie is that like a lot of film people I respect like shit on it, you know, and like they don't like it very much. And I can see how like Branagh kind of, you know, schmoozes it up with this movie and like really
for sure
hammers some shit like on the
like
head.
Trying to be a Hollywood blockbuster for sure.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of cringe too that he's like, you know, trying to set it up like Nick Fury, you know, with his Hercule Poirot universe. Yeah. But like I feel like the Agatha Christie story underneath is like really solid and like still there. Like I guess because there have been other adaptations of it, like maybe it feels frivolous, but like for someone who, you know, was exposed to Hercule Poirot as a character in Agatha Christie's work through this movie, like I was impressed still, really? You know, and I think that Branagh's a good Poirot. I've read some of the books now. I think that he brings that character to the screen in a very convincing way. I think if anything, you know, some of the celebrity stunt casting going on here, like you know, a lot of people love Johnny Depp, but I feel like he's really phoning it in, like for most movies. I mean, like I feel like he tries a little bit harder in this movie than he does in others, but it's still like, oh, Johnny Depp, like doing mobster persona. Like I don't know, he doesn't look bored at the very least. But also, you know, I hate to say it, but like Daisy Ridley has not had like a lot of success outside of Star Wars for me. Like she often comes across as wooden, and I'd say in this movie, you know, she was supposed to be played with, I guess, a little bit more like sinister intent, and I didn't really feel that from her. I don't know. It's frustrating because I like her. Like Daisy Ridley seems like such a cool person, and I hate when haters, you know, jump on someone like that, and there's such a campaign against her acting or whatever. But like, I don't know. It really isn't all that great here. And there are a couple performances in this movie that are just kind of over the top like that I'm just like, I don't know. But it's a good story. I like the mystery, and I like that this kind of movie really doesn't get made much anymore. And I feel like, I guess, if you are going to see this character, Hercule Poirot, on the screen, I guess it's going to be in blockbuster format. And so I trust Branagh to continue that. I'm actually going to go see Death on the Nile later tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just, you know, why not? You know, having fun. We got the credits. The only detective movie coming out this week of note.
The only one.
Before I talk about the other movie I saw and our larger topic, I did want to mention the review embargo for the Batman has dropped.
Dropped this morning.
Yeah, so people are saying their thoughts, and so far, Misa likey what I see. You know?
Misa agree. I'm seeing I'm seeing that a lot of people like the detective like noir elements in it, which is always welcome. The chemistry between Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, Batman and Catwoman, is very interesting and good. They say. I don't know. Ever since I saw that funeral scene that was on YouTube, I'm ready to see it.
I'm sold, and also intrigued. Like it ends on a cliffhanger. Yeah. I'm like, fuck, give me the movie. I feel like trailers used to be that, like kinda, just like a clip from the movie, and then like Alfred Hitchcock going, "Blimey, that's what happens," and then this might happen later. I don't know. Go see the bloody film.
Come see the film. Yeah, I agree.
But I'm definitely intrigued. I saw like IGN gave it like a 10 out of 10 or whatever. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like when a comic book based website gives a comic book movie a 10 out of 10. I mean, they did that for Joker too. And I remember seeing that shortly after and being like, I don't fuck with this movie, you know? Well, and nowadays I especially have reaffirmed my thoughts on Joker. And, Same. We've talked about it before. We've talked about it enough.
We had the Joker episode, baby.
Goodbye. Yeah, go check it out. Episode 50.
Yeah.
The Joker episode.
Also IGN is like corporate like shills.
Yeah.
Basically, they'd be like, I bet you corporations throw money at them to give their shit good ratings.
I mean, I've always heard that, but honestly, I think what it is just like when a movie like this is coming out and they don't want people to be pissed off, I feel like they throw like the softy comic book guy at it. Like a lot of people at IGN have come forward and been like, we don't get paid shit to make these reviews. We're just like the editor's chosen. So I mean, I hate that there's that campaign. I just feel like a lot of the times IGN in the past was really fucked up, especially when that one guy didn't like play Resident Evil 2. He just he submitted the review, gave it like a 9 out of 10, and then people immediately were like, dude, half your criticism with this game comes from you not having actually played it all the way through. So that's embarrassing. But I think with film, for the most part, they're just kind of softies, like the lowest I see from IGN is like a 6. So not to go see that movie if it's got like the mediocre score. It's like, ooh, IGN thinks that's like mid.
Yeah.
That's probably bad.
It's probably
and when
really
they say something's bad, I'm like, whoa, okay, what's up with that?
It's either really good or it's really bad.
Yeah, they gave Matrix Resurrections a 4 out of 10, and that's when I started paying attention. I was like,
yeah.
Like, this is going to be a very divisive movie, I suppose.
I was thinking about the Matrix not to like rabbit trail here, haha. But I was thinking about Matrix Resurrections the other day and looking at it in the lens of a true and faithful sequel. I can see how it does suck to people because people view sequels in a very, or like just anything like in a legacy sequel, or sort of like, they view it in a certain way. And I could see how if the Matrix Resurrections was taken seriously at like that in that through that lens, then yes, it sucks. Like, okay, that's not, but it's not meant to be taken that way. And that's what's so crazy about all the review websites giving it all these horrible ratings and talking about it like they completely missed the point. And I'm like, where is everybody's media literacy here? Like, come on. Like, you can't publish a fucking review like that and be completely blind to what the filmmaker's intent was. Like, we don't, I don't know. We don't live in an age where filmmakers release a film and you see the film and you figure out it for yourself. We live in a society. We live in a society where I didn't even mean to say society. I'm sorry, but
no, that's okay.
We live in a world where movies are like they sit down with and have interviews with like the fucking sound guy nowadays. So you have unlimited information about the movie. Everybody has Twitter. Just read up about it before you make your fucking review, and you'll see that, like, I don't know. I just got off on that tangent because it made me mad. Because fucking Jeremy Jahns did the same thing. And he said it himself. He's like, now if this was a middle finger to Warner Brothers, and I'm like, What do you mean if, Jeremy?
Yeah.
What the fuck do you mean if?
How do you interpret it as anything other? It's just because people take things so literally. I think this is why people don't like engage with like Criterion Collection films or like higher like independent projects, is because everyone who goes to these movies and like, you know, the CineScore or whatever is based off of people's literal interpretation of the movie, and they can't for a second be bothered to think like maybe they. Well, to think, you know, like,
to think,
like
they
maybe
don't want to be challenged.
This isn't supposed to be a story that you take a lot of meaning from on its surface level, but as you dig deeper, you see like, oh, these are why the choices are made, and I definitely think Resurrections is a perfect example of why the audience at large will keep eating up shit from Marvel. Without ever engaging in these like thought-provoking blockbusters, and it'll probably make it harder and harder for these kind of films to come out, and that's really disheartening. I agree. Speaking of John's today, I watched the Batman review, and I don't know, I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I understood from his criticism, he just was critiquing like a character arc. Like, I don't know, he was talking about Bruce Wayne in the new movie, which I will say I've seen a lot of division so far in the reviews that I've read. I'm trying not to read anymore. Like I get that jitters out, you know, like, okay, let's see what people have been saying, and so I can temper my expectations or whatever.
Right.
I've either been reading that a lot of people think that Pattinson's boring as Bruce Wayne, or that he's like really, really good and like raw or whatever. But Johns just seemed to be talking about the fact that the character is not the character we already know and love, and I'm like, isn't that kind of the whole point of the movie, is that like this character isn't that character yet? Like,
it's a reboot.
Yeah, I mean, like they even say in the blurb he's only been doing the Batman thing for like 2 years.
It's
like
the second year of crime. This is literally like a mishmash of the year one Batman story.
Yeah,
year one. Like, come on.
Well, I've always thought that's more interesting when like superheroes have to like take their time to like become that like godly persona or whatever. Like I will say in the Nolan Batman films, I forgot how quick it was for him to just like become, you know, the goated Batman. Like he's in Batman Begins, he tries that one time that he goes out with like a ski mask or whatever, and it doesn't work out for him, and he's like, okay, we got to retool this thing. I'm gonna get some military grade equipment. Yeah, it's like, maybe you should have just done that the first time.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. I like the a lot of people panned the Arkham Origins game, the prequel, because they didn't think it was up to par with the other Arkham games in the series. What I kind of agree with that. However, I thought Arkham Origins was really interesting because it was in Bruce's early years of crime fighting, so the cops were still after him. So like, you literally beat the shit out of cops in the game because they're aggressive towards you, and Gordon doesn't trust him yet, and you know, all these new villains, he's meeting them for the first time. I think that's the most interesting stories of Batman. That, and then in the late years of Batman's career, those are where the most interesting stories come from.
I don't think peak hero storytelling has ever been my favorite. You know, like when someone is like in their prime and just like doing their shit, like there's just not a lot of interest there. It feels very like run of the mill. I don't know. Yeah, like some of my favorite Batman stories are like Batman Beyond or the Dark Knight Returns. You know, shit that explores like with age, eventually the character will, you know, wither away, and you know, you have to test the strength of the symbol that way. And so I haven't seen the Batman yet, but I feel like what Matt Reeves is talking about with this movie is like Batman having to choose what kind of symbol he wants to become, because he's like such a rage-filled character in this take. It looks like, I mean, he's mashing that one guy's face in the mush in the trailer, but I don't know. We'll watch it. We'll probably have a spoiler talk
for sure
next episode. I feel like
I don't know when I'm gonna get to see it, but I'm gonna try my darndest.
Oh man, what, you're not gonna be able to see it this weekend?
Maybe.
Okay, I hope you do. I'm just worried for you in terms of internet people spoiling it.
I wish it was releasing on HBO Max a little sooner. I'd just pop it on the TV, but
yeah, I feel like Reeves was one of those guys that was like, oh, it's got to be exclusively in theaters or whatever, which it'll make bank, but you know, I wish it was more accessible. I feel like people took away the wrong thing from the pandemic, like, oh, movies releasing to like people's TVs is like the bad thing. It's like, sure, that fucks with box office numbers, but it makes your film way more accessible. And I mean, I feel like it allowed for more movies that I would have just like skipped entirely on HBO Max to like be cultural discussion points, you know?
Yeah.
Like, everyone was talking about Space Jam 2 last summer. I don't know that anyone would have actually gone to see it in theaters. Like, fuck.
Literally. Like, I feel like they would make a lot of money, too, if they did that, because a lot of people would want to subscribe to HBO Max for all their same-day releases. But, well, I mean, whatever. I understand. But
did they run the numbers and just decide, like, oh, not enough? I don't know.
I've been wondering about this moment for some time, though, about, not to, like, worry anybody, but, I've been wondering about when the next Batman film comes out. The last solo Batman film we had, there's a tragedy in Colorado with a theater shooting with some fucking idiot dressed like the fucking Joker. I'm just wondering if this one is going to, if that was just like a bygone era, if that was a fluke, or if some people have an attachment to this franchise with that tragedy.
I feel like, you know, this is exactly what people were kind of getting riled up about before Joker came out. You know, I remember all the memes like, oh, CNN's trying to start another shooting. Yeah. I do feel like it's warranted with this character, though, with him being so widely popular, and honestly, people have some weird ass associations with Batman. Like, I still hear about like the Sandy Hook was faked and Nolan like circles it on the map in Dark Knight Rises. Like,
that's a thing?
Yeah. No, a lot of people who are Sandy Hook deniers point to the Dark Knight Rises, and there's like some coincidence that a character circles on a map, like some location, Sandy Hook, and they're like, he knew, it's staged, you know? And I don't know. Like, with shit like that going on, like, of course, I think people will take whatever kind of shit they want out of these movies and do crazy shit. I mean, that's just people... I don't know. Conspiracy theorists, especially, will find the flimsiest shit and do whatever, and that saddens me. I hope that doesn't happen with this movie. I hope we can get through this theater-going experience without tragedy. I mean, honestly, though, it's probably going to be the COVID that someone gets from going to see it that'll get anyone, you know?
True.
Trying to manifest that.
Manifest COVID, yeah.
No, not manifest COVID. Manifest
I'm
peace.
Manifest peace. I think everybody's preoccupied with the war.
yeah. Well, they're manifesting peace there. Did you see the 90210 girl, like, you know, talk to Putin on Twitter and be like, please.
Oh my god.
Stop doing that.
Wait, are you talking about the girl who wrote a poem for Putin?
Oh, maybe that's who I was talking about. I thought she was 90210 person.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I didn't even watch the full video. I just was like, this feels like an Imagine, like, Gal Gadot thing.
Yeah, that's the one.
Happening again, yeah.
I got so fucking pissed. I
just didn't.
So stupid.
I feel like we talk about current events enough in this show that we should probably mention, like, what's going on in Ukraine. It's just like, I don't know, we're not experts, and I feel like, you know, saying if we're gonna go to war, it would be very irresponsible. I don't know. I just want to say it's horrible what's horrible. Happening, and like, fuck Putin. There have been so many badass stories though about the Ukrainians, like that girl going around giving sunflower seeds out and being like, at least grow a sunflower when you're buried here. Yeah. And the fuck off Russian warship. The fuck off Russian
warship was awesome.
The Ghost of Kiev.
The Ghost of Kiev, bro. What the fuck? There was also a dude who blew up. He sacrificed himself to blow up a bridge to stop a bunch of tanks rolling into a city. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian people are a bunch of badasses, especially their fucking president. He's out
Zelensky?
there.
Oh my god.
Out there on the front lines with them.
And he's like taking videos of himself every day with like soldiers and being like, you know, I'll die here with my men. Right. He had that quote like, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition.
Yeah. Hardest line in any presidency ever, bro.
Okay, and we're back. Yeah, presumably. There was a little break there.
Yeah.
That got a little nuts. I mean, was that really all that tasteful to have that clown sound effect right after talking about the Russian war? Casey, you don't have to do that this time. I know you're devoted to your editing.
I am.
But I did watch another film, and I thought it would be interesting as a catalyst for a larger topic about video game adaptations, because it's no secret that Uncharted is the hottest film on the planet right now.
Is it?
Tom Holland is making the world his bitch, making us lather up in our little butter again and going, hey, everybody, I own all of you.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you saw it, right?
I did. I actually don't know that it's doing too well at the box office. I think it did pretty good its first weekend, but I haven't kept up with it. I saw Uncharted, and it's about what you'd expect. Like,
okay, that's all I need to know.
I know. It's just like, it's very obvious that it's all centered around Tom Holland being cast as Nathan Drake. Like, Sony was like, we want this blockbuster star to lead this project because it will probably make us a lot more money. And I will say that the only reason I saw it was because
Tom Holland is Nathan Drake.
Well, no, because yeah, I guess if you boil it down that much, but it was because Kennedy's little sister wanted to see it because Tom Holland is Nathan Drake. Right. So they got 6 people on that basis. Yeah. So I mean, I can't say it's not effective, but Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, weak as shit. Oh my god, just like he's like I don't know, like it just doesn't feel right. He feels like he does the Marty McFly like American accent. Like someone pointed that out on Twitter, and that's what he's doing here. Like, I mean, it works for Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like supposed to be a kid, you know?
Yeah, right.
But like he's still. I mean, they make him more like adulty in this script. Like, I mean, he's doing like all kinds of cool bartender tricks or whatever. He knows the names of drinks. He's like, give me a smoke. Ah, ha, ha. But he still looks like a high schooler to me. And he talks like one. Like, I don't know. It's just like this whole movie is kind of... It youngifies all of the video games like main characters just to accommodate the fact that Tom Holland doesn't look old enough to play the role, when you could have just found someone old enough to play the role. Did you ever see that fan film that came out a couple years with Nathan Fillion? Yeah. Stephen Lang as Sully. Yes. And I can't remember who they got. I haven't played the Uncharted games like in a while, so I can't remember the name of the other character in that. But that was great. That was much better than the Uncharted full-length feature. I mean, I'm shitting on it a lot. It's just because the 2 main stars of this movie, Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, are totally like phoning it in. I don't think Tom Holland's phoning it in. I think he just doesn't have the chops to play this role.
I think it's a miscast.
Mark Wahlberg is definitely phoning it in, though. Like he's like, I don't know what Uncharted is, but boy, I could make a lot of money off this. He's just playing himself.
Why they even like? I had the perfect cat. I can't remember who it was, but I remember when I was like, I watched playthroughs of because I didn't have a PlayStation, but I enjoyed the Uncharted games by like watching gameplay.
I mean, the cutscenes are dope.
The cutscenes are amazing, yeah. So, and the stories are great too. I watched all of them, and I had this perfect casting decision for Sully in my head, but it was like, and it was right there, you know. Like, there's so many people that could have played any of these characters, and they choose the 2 most the fucking like dumbest choices for them. I just think it's kind of stupid. And I have like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to see this film in the theater. I'll watch it when it comes to streaming. I've decided this year I am really, really, really speaking with my wallet at the movies. I am choosing to go see interesting things, original things. I probably won't even watch MCU releases in theater unless it's like I absolutely have to. I don't know. I just like don't feel like it anymore. I don't feel like spending my money like that. And like Uncharted with fucking Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg it's the absolute last thing I wanted, and I will not be seeing it in the theater. So
I didn't plan on seeing it at all. So I am very surprised to be here talking about it. But I respect that, and I think that I'm gonna try and live like that this year. Like, you know, try not to just catch Marvel movies day one just because like they're cultural like important things. Like, I don't know, like I missed out on Hawkeye and like things like that, and I did not feel their absence at all. I was like, I don't give a fucking shit. I don't know. And this movie definitely has not made that big of a splash like culturally, and so there's not a lot going on with it. I will say, despite everything with the main characters or whatever, the story's pretty fun because I mean, it's just like a National Treasure Indiana Jones type movie will always be a little bit fun. I will say the puzzles here are not very hard to figure out. Like it makes you wonder, like, oh, how have people been chasing this treasure for centuries and not like a couple of weeks? Like they always find something and it's like, oh, this is actually quite like in one scene they look at the ground and it's like an arrow pointing in a direction. It's like, oh, we should go over there. The arrow's pointing that way. And it's like, really? No one figured out the arrow that points exactly where you need to go? No one thought of that?
I'm sure the puzzles in the actual game are harder.
I guess they just couldn't waste too much time like trying to figure out something complex, or like the screenwriter couldn't think of anything.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. In spite of that, it's still fun, and it's got kind of like that fun, like specifically in these treasure hunter movies. There's always like a lot of traitor stuff going on. You know, people backstabbing each other to get at the treasure, and I mean, it might be flat and overdone, but like, it's kind of effective. Like it always makes me go like, ooh, or like, ah, or like, girl, get him. Just don't expect anything from, like, I think the only reason I had some fun with it is like I didn't expect like a masterful like adaptation of Uncharted or anything.
Right.
But I do think that a lot of the things with this movie that speaks to a larger issue with video game adaptations, which I would like to talk more in depth about why there have been so few good ones, is that it turns out it's a lot more fun to play a big dumb set piece sometimes than it is to watch one. You know, like there's some in this movie too, which are directly ripped from like the Uncharted games, like the plane sequence that's in the trailer, that they, by the way, set up a lot in the movie. They have like I spoilers for Uncharted, I guess, but not really. It's like mild, very mild. Like they have the plane sequence set up at the start of the movie, and then they're like, "How did he get here?" Yeah, and it's like if you've played the games before, you're not very excited to get there because it's like you've already done it, and it's probably more exciting in Uncharted 3 than it was in that movie.
Yeah.
But like the set pieces can be fun like that, but like, I don't know. There's something to be said about like when you're in control of a character and going through those motions than just like being passive. And I think it's that interactivity of video games that these adaptations will never nail. It's like people don't love these things for the story. Like, I mean, there are video games that people love for the story.
Right.
But the thing is, the interactivity in those games is usually lower. Like The Walking Dead, like people love that series because it's all player choice. Or I mean, it's interactivity, but it's also very like thinly disguised delusion of choice too. Right. But I think that's when video game stories really excel, and other video game stories excel when you get really abstract and play with like player mechanics. And I don't think that's anything you can show by just like doing like a live action cutscene essentially. I don't know. Like, I just feel like with the Uncharted games, this was always bound to be less charming than the original product.
Yeah. And I mean, when I think of Uncharted, I also think of like Tomb Raider in the same vein. I recently played through the 2000 or like the late 2000s like remakes of the Tomb Raider games.
Like the 2013 one. Yeah. Rise of the Tomb Raider and all those. Those look good.
The first, I played through the first one. It's fucking amazing. Like it's like one of my new favorite games. Like I really loved it. And one of the things I was thinking about, I was like, bro, why hasn't this version of Lara Croft been put to screen? Because this story is actually, it's gritty, it's dramatic, you know, and the game is very cinematic at many points. And I'm like, why don't we try to adapt this? Like, it's right there. And then I remembered we did. It was 2017's Tomb Raider, which I saw in the theater, and it's nothing like the Tomb Raider game, and it's really bad. And I think part of that is what you were saying with the set pieces. Like, it's the same issue there. It's more fun to interact with a set piece and figure it out for yourself and let it unfold in a sort of a cinematic way, you know, in the palm of your hands, with the controller and everything than it is to just sit down and watch that happen. And it's just studios have this problem, I think, where when they're adapting video games, they think they have to change the story a lot. Like, I really don't think adapting a video game into a movie has to be like adapting a book. Like, I get there's a lot in video games. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of walking, exploring that obviously would not translate to screen that well. And even with, we think about Mario. Yeah. Mario has, like, really deep but hidden lore, but it's not enough to make a story out of. And yet we get the monstrosity Super Mario Brothers with John Leguizamo
and Bob Hoskins. That one's fucking crazy. It's like the meteorite, like the dinosaurs are like tied into it or whatever.
Yeah,
that shit looks nuts. I still haven't seen that all the way through. Actually,
I watched it a long time ago when I was young, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is crazy," and it was really weird. And I didn't like it, but I own it on DVD still, but. It's like things like that. Like I think where we go wrong is adapting the story. We can get past the hurdle of like, people just wanting to play the game. If you make the story interesting enough, I think, and really bring what the heart of whatever game you're trying to adapting into the film, I think you'll win a lot of people over.
Do you think that's shame a little bit? Because I felt like in Uncharted, They were almost ashamed that it's adapted from a video game, so they change a lot of elements so that it can be taken more seriously as a film. I think with Mario Brothers especially, you're seeing that because they're completely changing what the story or the context of the video game is, and it's like, I don't know, maybe just like faithfully adapt like what happens in the game. Like a lot of people fuck with the Warcraft movie because apparently that's like just Warcraft lore.
Yeah,
like, put
dude,
to the screen.
Because it's good. It's the video game lore for Warcraft is good, and all they did was adapt that to the screen and make some badass fucking battle sequences and fight sequences, and it's good. It's good. I like the Warcraft movie, and I think you mentioned like I think video games. Up until recent years, like I'm talking within the last 5 to 10 years, video games have started becoming seen as art instead of just like entertainment. Like I think a lot of filmmakers look down on video games, especially maybe some of the older generation. They see it as like a lower form of just entertainment when recent years have shown us it's actually an art form in and of itself. And I think when they're adapting that, they don't think of it as an art form, so they have to translate it to an art form. And that's where they go wrong. That's where they've been going wrong for so long. And I think I'll use the Warcraft example again. I think that's why Warcraft is so cool, is because they're literally not trying to do anything else with that other than tell the fucking Warcraft story and bring characters and things that people recognize from the world. They're building this world up, and they got a cool ass fucking fight sequences, and the CGI looks great, and it's just like that's all you need. Warcraft is a fine video game adaptation, and I'm trying to think of some other ones that we've had. I know we've had a lot in the recent.
A lot of people really fucked with the Sonic movie. I mean, I
still haven't seen it, but yeah, I heard as well.
With that film in particular, like I do agree that it's pretty fun because I think for the most part, like, they did a pretty good job just taking the character of Sonic and like, especially the Jim Carrey as Eggman is really like fun. It's silly.
Yeah.
I think that that's the perfect representation of my frustrations with video game adaptations and what I'd like to see more, because they've got all those like fun gamey elements, like literal bosses from the video game, like in the movie, and that's great. And the character design, after they tweaked it, of course, is straight from a Sonic game. I think what that movie represents to me in terms of frustration is like, they make it like a road trip movie, which it's pretty weak because I don't think that's ever been an element of the Sonic games, is road trippiness, and also it feels like terrible. Like all the human characters that they add in. And all of these video game movies, I will say, or a lot of recent ones, are extra shameless with the product placement.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's like, I guess it's because people don't take these movies being developed as seriously. They feel like they can get away with that cringe shit, I guess. I don't know. So in Sonic, it's like Olive Garden comes up like 5 million times. In Uncharted, literally, Mark Wahlberg walks into a Papa John's and he's like, I think I'm in a Papa John's right now.
Oh my
God. I mean, they're playing it for a joke, but I'm laughing because it's just like, in spite of you trying to play it as a joke, it just feels so like shameless and embarrassing. Like, I can't believe like
oh my God.
Oscar nominee Mark Wahlberg is having to go in there and be like, I think I'm literally in a Papa John's right now.
Oh my God. I think a lot of the product placement in video game movies is due, maybe it's still attached to the 80s excess era, because that's where video games really thrived, was like the 80s. That's where they really, like the 80s. You think of 80s, you think of arcades mainly in the malls and everything. And I think maybe that's part of it. Maybe fucking studio fucks that are 75 years old, they think of video games as just as something to adapt and put out the screen for product placement so they can make a shit ton of money, because that's all the 80s were, is like a bunch of fucking ads for everything you could possibly need, and while you're at it, play this game. They just see it as an advert, really, and that's fucking stupid. And I think recently, with games coming out showing that they can be an art form, I'm specifically thinking of like Life is Strange, Red Dead Redemption 2, hell, even GTA 5, because just of the way those games are built. Like Rockstar games, the story-centric, but the game is still really fun, but they're just very cinematic. I mean, hell, in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's cinematic view. You literally click a button and you're in cinematic mode, and you play the game in these different cinematic fucking aspect ratio of 239:1. It's so cool. And I mean, I wish they would take it more seriously. I think that's where they go wrong. Like with Sonic, like I know it's hard to adapt like an older video game like Sonic, but they also just have to add humans into everything. Yeah. And now it's like, I don't know.
it was wrong with Transformers. Yeah. It's still wrong today. Wrong. Like they're always the worst part of the movie. I especially felt that way watching fucking Kong versus Godzilla last year. Like, I don't know. Just like make a 30, like don't be ashamed. Just make like a 30-minute like YouTube fight, essentially. Yeah. Like make a death battle video. That's why people watch Death Battle, is for the little funny shit at the end. I was going to ask, because you're bringing up Rockstar games, which do usually have exceptional stories, do you think that a lot of the problem... Oh, cute. Podcast dog is being cute. Oh, she's being so cute. Do you think with a lot of the examples here, like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, like, do you think that video games allow for stories to take their time a lot of the time? Like, are video game stories maybe too dense for feature-length movies? Like, maybe you do need to have, like, 10 hours at least before you take something like that seriously.
Yeah. I do think so, because when I've played through Grand Theft Auto 5 probably 8 times all the way through. It's one of my favorite video games. It's one of the favorite stories ever fucking told. Those characters are amazing. The world they create is brilliant. But I was thinking, the last couple times I replayed it, I'm like, how would you adapt this into a movie? And then I thought, no, this is way too dense and long. This would literally be a TV show. And I think that's why a lot of video game adaptations have found success in TV shows. I'm thinking of The Witcher. There's their commissioned one for Fallout.
And Last of Us, honestly. I mean, the antithesis of Naughty Dog's other project, Last of Us, is way more gritty than Uncharted, and also like revered for its cutscenes. But I feel like they've done everything right so far with what I know about the HBO show. Like, casting actors that are like age appropriate. Pedro Pascal and I can't remember, Ramsey Bella. I think she's Lady Mormont from Game of Thrones. Yeah, the young actress. Okay, and I feel like just amazed at those castings, and then also they cast one of the actors from the video game as the role she played in the video game, and it's a principal role.
That's fucking great. Yeah,
I know. Like, I feel like TV might be the format for video games then, because I do feel like most of the cherished video game adaptations, like Castlevania and like Witcher, said, they're all TV shows. I mean, Halo coming out later this month. I don't know if it'll be any good, but
I mean,
I'm curious now, and the fact, honestly, that it's a TV show rather than a movie has me more interested in it.
Yeah, same.
Wow, you know what? I wasn't thinking about that going into this discussion, but it does seem like they are pivoting mostly towards television. Amazon's also kind of leading the charge on that. Other than the Fallout show, they just picked up Disco Elysium, which is one of the most celebrated story-driven games like ever.
Right.
And I mean, having played a lot of Disco Elysium, I do feel like television would be the only route that you could go with that if you were going to try. And I still don't know how they're going to do it because I feel like a lot of the story of Disco Elysium depends on the player and like choice and
that's how I feel about the Fallout
video
show.
Game tropes. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see those shows, but
maybe we'll have like another episode in the future in a couple of years where we'll be like basically a redux of this conversation once we have the perspective of all these TV shows, like how they're working and everything like that.
It's going to be a very important year this year, especially with like how much money you can throw at a show and like whether it'll be good still. Like a lot of I'm not trying to get too off topic, but you know, Lord of the Rings crosses over into video games a lot, but like with Lord of the Rings especially, everyone knows that show cost $1 billion, but it's starting to look pretty iffy in terms of like critics like deciding whether it is going to be like really good or pretty shit. Like like can $1 billion and like a lot of effort like actually save these properties, or do you need maybe to focus more on like direction? And I don't know. Like it's hard to tell because they haven't come out yet.
Right. Yeah.
It's all speculative, but I don't know. There's a cynic in me that will always take this news and kind of like scowl at it and be like, oh my gosh, Amazon bought another video game that they're gonna adapt now. Like really?
Yeah.
I just wish they weren't picking such bangers though. It's like it's hard to not get excited about my video game feelings about these properties.
Right. Yeah. What is there a video game that you think, a TV show or movie that you want to see adapted, and it was let's just imagine for a second that some studio was going to do justice to a video game adaptation. It could be a movie or a TV show. What video game would you choose for them to do?
Oh my god. For the longest time, I wanted a Legend of Zelda movie. Like, there was an April Fool's trailer IGN did back in, like, 2009. And it was so dope, like, that I was like, whoa, I can't wait for the Legend of Zelda movie. Right. It would be hard because you have a non-speaking protagonist. I just really want to see Hollywood tackle the non-speaking protagonist and actually like commit to it. You know, like they don't speak like the whole movie. I don't know, like with the
kind of did it with Hardcore Henry. I know it's not an adaptation, but
it's proved that you can have a very entertaining, high octane movie like that without having the character speak.
That's literally a video game movie.
I haven't seen it all the way through, but I've loved everything I've seen of Hardcore Henry, and Nobody was really fun. So I mean, I'll have to check that out. But Legend of Zelda would be really cool to see, I think, and Mass Effect, a TV series of Mass Effect maybe. That'd be dope.
I can see that coming soon. I'm not gonna lie. They just did Halo. If Halo goes well, I guarantee you they'll do Mass Effect.
I don't know what they could do with Mass Effect though that you can't get from just having like played the games. So probably Legend of Zelda if you put me on the spot. What about you, man?
I'm gonna go. I want a TV show of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think they could do it. The story, they really don't have to change much about the story. Like, the story in Grand Theft Auto 5 is already fucking great. And I think that world is, they could do, like, it's a satirical world. So obviously there's a lot you could do with that in film. And the characters are ripe for a TV show. Like, those are the kind of characters you want to stick with for 5 or 6 seasons. So that's what I would want to see is Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, I mean, and from Rockstar, like, if they ever thought about doing Red Dead Redemption 2, I would love to see that in another format so more people can experience.
I would come if they announced the Red Dead Redemption like adaptation.
Because that might just be my favorite Western story like ever.
It is really good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's such a shame that people, especially because people won't finish the game a lot of the times. Like, it's so long that a lot of like serious gamers just dropped it, and it's like, damn, I really do want to see this adapted so people can see it all the way through and see how amazing it is like throughout.
It's so fucking good.
And I mean, it really takes its time too. Like, good. Like I think that's something I meant with like video games being too dense for like feature length. Is like I cannot imagine a 2-hour version of Red Dead Redemption 2's story. Like it would
suck.
It would not have nearly as much depth. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
There's way more stuff you can do with television when it comes to adapting video games.
But don't get too crazy, people, okay? I know a lot of high up there producers listen to our shows and get ideas from us. Stop it. Hey, Mr. Putin, if you're listening, let's just give you a mom message. Sorry, shouldn't do that.
That will love you.
That will love you.
That's what she said. She's like, if I was your mother, I would have loved you. And I'm like, good God.
Like I said, I shut that shit off so fast. I was like, I can't stomach this.
Yeah, I haven't watched the whole video. I've only watched like 20 seconds of it. It's like, fuck you, bro.
I mean, like I said, I'm speaking with my wallet and I'm speaking with my screen time. I'm not gonna give that shit any more attention. Gal Gadot, please just don't make a sequel to the Imagine video. But I mean, she would. Maybe she'd get all meta with it. Like, oh, I know the first one sucked, but this one is gonna suck on purpose.
Wink, wink. Oh God. Before we close out, I would just like to say that Patty Jenkins captured lightning in a bottle with the first Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman 2 proved that she didn't even know what she did in the first one. That's what I'd just like to end this week off of. Yeah. Just because I recently watched a scene from Wonder Woman, and I just thought about how much better it was compared to the second one, and how just lost in the direction and tone it was. And I just thought, yeah, she really didn't know what she had there. So. Yeah,
and also Gal Gadot. Yeah. Like we can stop pretending now that the first Wonder Woman has passed that she's like a good actress or even that great of a person. It's like, okay,
she's just like a model actress. It's fine. Everybody calm down.
Yeah. It's not sexist or anything. It really is just
really isn't. Wonder Woman was like her only good film. Like,
I know. I'm gonna go see Death on the Nile here in a little bit, and I'm just like,
and enough champagne to fill the Nile. Oh,
like the fact that one line is read so bad in the trailer that people can like already get the like sniff of her. Honestly, this is gonna be. I'm sorry. I've got it on the brain because I'm about to go see it, but Armie Hammer's also in it. I mean, we've got kind of a controversial cast on our hands with Death on the Nile. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to have to maybe shelve the Batman spoiler talk for like indefinitely because we're going to have
Death on the Nile talk.
A 3-part series on Death on the Nile.
We're going to have like a surgical dive into the Death on the Nile.
This channel is about to be a lot more like Mahler, as in that we're going to start making our podcasts about like 12 times longer, but with like a quarter of the substance that exists in them now. Why is this man wearing gloves in this scene? Why would he be wearing gloves? That's just ridiculous. I hate this. My opinion's objective, by the way.
Oh my God. Can't wait. Well, tune in next time for the 12-hour episode of Mind Over Movies, where we dissect Death on the Nile.
And as always, here's 30 minutes of silence followed by 3 quick gunshots.